Alrighty class, welcome to lesson 1-3. We're going to look at the properties of numbers. Our previous lesson we used order of operations or PEMDAS to simplify expressions, right? Having a bunch of numbers and then how to kind of narrow down to find that one number, right? When you have a bunch of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now, we're going to figure out ways to recognize the properties of numbers to rearrange and group factors to make mental calculations easier, right? Because in math, it's a lot of problem solving. And of course, when we do problem solving, we don't always want to do the long way, right? We want to find shortcuts and ways that kind of simplify the process. So this is what this lesson is going to be about. Alright, so you have some vocabulary right here, only 4 this time, and we're going to look at certain terms like equivalent expressions, reciprocal, when you flip that fraction, commutative property, and associative property. And let's do some examples using this table below. So make sure you write this down. I want you to write down like a little table like this, and then kind of like leave room down like that. And then make sure you have label properties, properties for addition, and then properties for multiplication. So the first one you have right here is called commutative, right? And this comes from the word commute, okay? So usually when you commute from one place to another place, you're like driving. So think of commuting like you're moving things around, right? You got our little car here, and he's got somewhere to go on LA traffic. Alright, so usually it goes by this formula: A plus B equals B plus A. So in other words, you could say 4 plus 8 is the same thing as 8 plus 4. It doesn't really matter the order, you still use the same operation of addition. Same thing for multiplication. You could say 7 times 11 is equal to 11 times 7. Alright? So commute is about moving the terms around, right? Those terms are also called factors. Okay, that's commutative. Now let's look at associative. Associative has the root word associate in it. Okay, so usually associate means group. I put things together. So you got one guy right here, and he's going to group up with another guy right here. They're like holding hands. How cute is that? Alright. So here's the little formula right here. Practically, you can group certain terms together on parentheses, and you can still, do the same property of addition or multiplication. So let's, for example, you can do 3 plus 5 in parentheses, okay, plus 7. It's the same thing as 3 plus and then parentheses 5 plus 7. Alright? And then for multiplication, you can say 2 times 6 is the same thing. 2 times 6 quantity times 9 is the same thing as 2 times quantity 6 times 9. Alright? You could move and group the parentheses in different parts of the equation. It will still be the same. Alright? Commutative is moving, associative is grouping. Alright, identity. So identity is practically just keeping the same. It's pretty straightforward. So the guy is just like chilling by himself. And when you have addition, anything that you add to a 0 is going to still be the same. So 2 plus 0 equals 2. And then for multiplication, anything you multiply times 1 is going to equal the same number. So practically it just means I'm going to get the same value. 0. So 0 means you are gone, right? There's no more left, right? There's the dude, he's disappeared. So addition, you don't really have anything, but for multiplication, right? Anything multiplied times 0 will give you 0. Alright? Simple property. Okay, distributive. This is a big one that we're going to use a lot in algebra. And when you hear the word distribute, you're going to think of the word share, okay? Kind of like when you distribute food to the homeless, or you distribute goods to, your places where you sell things, right? Distributing is about sharing. So You have like this guy right here, and he's gonna like throw a box. Like, hey, dude, cash. And then another guy's gonna like try to get it. Okay? So let's say you have like a term here, and it says, hey, I want you to spread out to terms B and C, right? So you're gonna multiply A times B and then A times C, like that. You're kind of sharing out the factor A. So let me give you an example. Let's say I have 3 times the quantity of 2 plus 5. Okay? And then you can say this 3 can also go over to 2, and this 3 can also multiply times 5. So you can say 3 times 2 plus 3, what the heck is that? Times 5. Okay? Because this 3 is multiplying by this entire quantity, so I could do that. Alright, and then now let's simplify both sides. Right? If I want to do PEMDAS and do parentheses first, I can say 2 plus 5 is 7. Alright, and then I can do this part, 6, and then 15. And then if I continue, this would be 21. And then 6 plus 15 is also 21. So it works. Alright, so distributing is sharing out that factor. Alright, and last but not least, substitution. We're going to use a lot in algebra. This is about plugging it in. Alright, so you've got your little socket. You're just going to find the little thing to plug in the wall. Outlet, that was it. Alright, so if A equals B, then A may be substituted for B. So if I have N equals 11, right, and I have like a term called 4N, this N equals 11 is going to replace where that N is. So that 11 is going to replace where that N is. So I would say 4 times 11 equals 4. D4. Right? So I hope this is all review. The important ones we're going to play around with is commutative, associative, and distributive for this lesson. Okay? So make sure you write down this table and use it as your reference point. Alright, let's move on. So, let's apply the properties of numbers when we're adding, and you're going horseback riding. Georgia, your good friend, is made a list of trail links to find the total miles she rode. So find the total miles Georgia rode on her horse. So usually total means sum. Sum means add. Okay, so this is based on our previous lesson, how to read word problems to figure out how am I going to solve this algebraically. Alright, so these are the different trails, and these are all the different miles. So I could say, right, when she went to Bent Tree, she went 4.25 miles. And I'm going to add because I'm going to find the total miles. Okay? Wow, that's an ugly T. There you go. Alright, so 4.25, and then for Nob Hill, I got 6.5, and then I have Meadow Run, I got 9, and then I got Pinehurst. Alright, 7.75. Okay, so that is one way to group it up. Alright, cool. So, as you can see here, we have it all listed on the side. And check it out. If I look at the decimals closely, I can see that 4.25, and 7.75, right? 75 cents and 25 cents will add up to have $1. So that will give me a whole number. So let me group these up together, and then these right here can actually be grouped up together when you move them around. So let me show you what that would look like. And let me just erase this real quick. So this, alright, so this is what I wrote earlier. Okay, so I'm going to do commutative property. That's practically what I did. I just grouped these two together, and I moved them around so that, 25 cents and then 75 cents will equal $1. That's easier mental calculations in my head. Alright? So, when I add this up, this will actually be, $12 plus 15.50 right? And because I only added these two together, I could also say that I grouped them up using parentheses with associative property. All right, and then I continue doing that, and that's going to give me a total of 27.5 miles. Okay. Okay. So you can say Georgia traveled a total of this amount of miles. Okay? So just a little shortcuts to make mental calculations easier. And haters gotta hate because horses gotta horse. So try the example problem below. Let me erase all this ink. All right. And try this problem right here with Darlene. Okay, very similar. When you find total, all right, you want to add them all up. Go for it.